Maybe they can get in touch with Neighborworks.
Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, you can leave it. Right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome to the Board of Aldermen's meeting for Monday, June 17th. First order of business is minutes of the previous meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Are there any corrections? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We are outside the rail. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board on a matter not on the agenda? Yes, sir. You just need to come over to the podium and your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Stanley Madison. I live at 299 West Street. I'm here to see what can be done about the West Street Bridge, of having it lowered or fixed, because everybody is just using it as a rocket launch on their bikes, or trailers are coming disconnected, campers, low boys are bottoming out and rubbing across it. I mean, it's getting where you see vehicles go up over and they literally start bouncing. The back of their cars will come up off the ground some. The bridge is too high.
Okay, if you just hold on, maybe Jeff, what West Street Bridge? We down by Meadow Street? Is that where we are? Okay.
The one that goes over East Creek, right?
Right where East Creek Motors used to be, Big Joe's Towing.
Okay, and that's a fairly new bridge.
The bridge deck was replaced 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little longer, and they put new rails on. But they looked at changing the contours of it. There was no way to do it without having to acquire massive amounts of property. The driveways that have to access the road are too close to it, so they had to do it with a kind of a transition like that. So people need to drive slowly because it's not a smooth transition, it's a sharp transition. But short of replacing the entire bridge and acquiring all kinds of properties up and down the road, there was no other option. This was, this was what was affordable. So that's what they did at the time.
Okay. Signage?
But people need to slow down. I mean,
Right.
if you hit it, a normal vehicle hitting it at the speed limit is not going to leave the ground.
So my question is it possible to put signage as you're entering the bridge to slow it down to a certain miles
That ain't
per
gonna
hour?
stop anybody.
Pardon?
That ain't gonna stop anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go over it, your headlights are actually facing up into the sky, and then you come back down. And then when they plow during the winter, the same way, the sidewalk plows lift up, and the blade don't even touch the sidewalk. It leaves anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of snow on it, and half the times they don't even plow it off. And you gotta walk out in the road and hope you don't get hit.
Right.
But when the vehicles go over it, if you're on that bridge and you get 2 loaded log trucks coming through, one on each side, that bridge will start swaying and you can feel it go down and then it comes back up.
Okay. Mayor Laird, did you have something?
All I was going to say is that, that's a pretty straight stretch there,
Right.
Between stop signs or, anything to slow people down. Maybe we can ask the police chief about some more enforcement up there and see if there are any other ideas that might be able to get people to slow down short of, restructuring the whole bridge.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on down around there. You got the bike path that's being vandalized, the graffiti went all over the walls.
Okay.
I mean, the trestle going across East Creek, that gets it inside, they're painting it. And you can't put cameras, because if you put cameras and find out, they smash them or they try to get them and steal them. And somebody had trail cams down there and they disappeared.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, extremely unfortunate. But thank you. The mayor and the commissioner of public works are aware of the situation with the bridge. Right. So I appreciate it, you coming and letting us know.
Because I know one side of the bridge is higher than the other, and then when you go over it, there's a little sway in the road because it's got a dip on this side.
Okay. Okay. Well, they're aware, and we'll see what we can do to slow things down. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else outside the rail? Seeing none. We are on to communications from the mayor, Mayor Lair.
So, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I just had a couple of quick things I wanted to touch on tonight. Later in the meeting, you're going to hear, Treasurer Markowski, I don't believe is here, but she did give you the May 2019 report. And you're also going to hear from Finance Committee report from Alderman Ettore. Both of those reports are going to help us understand where we are financially here in the city year to date, and help us understand some of the factors, that, especially for newer members of the Board of Aldermen, about setting the tax rate, where we are in the unassigned fund balance, et cetera. I won't go into any more detail. You'll hear that in the report, but I wanted to touch on that, and that we are in pretty good shape as far as spending-wise going into year's end, which is coming up less than 2 weeks. One important piece of the puzzle is the grand list. I'm pleased to report that Assessor Keefe has provided me with some numbers here for tax rate setting time, and we're actually up in the grand list of just under $4 million, which is good news. 3.3 million of that is in personal property, and about 674,000 in total real estate. So the trend is better. It's not a game changer, but it's at least improving, and hopefully that's going to be a trend that's going to continue on, and we're certainly working very hard to do that. And real quickly, I just wanted to mention an update on several of the projects that are going on around town. I think I did mention this, or I have at previous Project Vision meetings. A couple of new developments. As far as the old Hobby Lobby property on South Main Street, Ocean State Job Lots, that property has transferred. We have gotten the property transfer in building and zoning. They've started to hire people, and they're working on the building down there. So that's an excellent piece of news. Another development up on North Main Street, as you all know, the old Royals Hardside building has come down. Construction has begun, but up until just recently, there had been no lease that had been signed with any of the potential tenants, but Starbucks has signed a lease. So one of the 3 storefronts is definitely going to be filled, and I think once you have, one filled, hopefully those other 2 will follow right along. And we, of course, continue to wait to hear about any news on the downtown hotel. And just one quick thing also, in anticipation of budget discussions, which will come sooner rather than later. There are a couple of things that we're looking at internally here. May sound like a broken record, and I'm not sure if we're going to come and ask for an RFP on the insurance, but we are looking at insurance, and if we do that, we're going to do that earlier in the year, so we can have plenty of time to receive RFPs and see where that all takes us. And I think I mentioned before, but we are talking about and are looking at asking for some bonding authority next March to do some work on the surface infrastructure, in particular sidewalks and roads. Something that I heard plenty of during the campaign. I'm sure any of the other candidates out there heard the same thing, and all I have to do is drive around the streets. So those are the things that we're working on, and I wanted to give the board a quick update.
Okay. So. Any questions for the mayor? Seeing none. Are there any additions and deletions to the agenda? Seeing none. We're moving on to reports and letters from department heads and officials. First up is Treasurer Markowski, Municipal Checklist for Internal Control, FY19. And I believe, if I may, she's looking for a suspension of the rules and authorizing the board chair. Ettore.
Move to suspend the rules, take the issue up tonight.
Second. All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And move to authorize the board president to sign the municipal checklist for internal control FY18/19.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to authorize the chair to sign? Okay, and these are the internal controls via the audit process. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Then we have Treasurer Markowski, May 2019 Treasury Report, she went over with the Finance Committee last week. Alderman Vittori,
Oh, move to receive and file?
Second.
are there any debate on the motion to receive and file? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next up is Commissioner Wennberg, Clean Water State Revolving Fund requests. Those are pages 13 through 41. Jeff? Commissioner, welcome.
Thank you. This is the next step, I think matter of a month and a half ago, maybe it was 2 months ago. A similar request was made to go to final design on these two bonded projects. We are at the completion of the final design now, and it's time to go to construction loan application. Each one of these steps requires a circulation for signatures and basically an approved resolution of the board. And so these are for these is separate. This time I separated them out in the memos because last time I created confusion by just lumping them together. The first one requested is for the force main project, which is still on schedule to be hopefully under construction this fall. And the second one would be the one for the digesters. These are all related to the wastewater treatment plant and the River Street pump station and connections between the two. So basically, if this is approved, circulated for signatures, we are now able to complete the application for the construction funding with the state. I did put a condition on both of these that we are still, the state has reviewed these and basically approved them. They've asked for a little additional information, which we are or have provided. So they may want to tweak something, and so I left a little wiggle room there so that if they require something that is a minor modification and the city engineer approves, that we don't have to come back. This is all on a very tight timeline, so that's why we're doing this now in hopes that within the next several days we'll be able to finalize it, if you approve.
Okay. So these were bonds that were approved by the voters last
Right.
March. Alderman Whitcomb.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman Whitcomb.
I move that the board approve and circulate for signature the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, Step 3, funding application for the replacement force main project, subject to minor modification as may be required by the state and approved by the city engineer.
Second.
Is there any debate on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. I'm just gonna tell you, when you get your signature, when you get the paper, signatures are on the right, but you're gonna sign on the left.
Signatures are on the right, I heard that.
Si- You're right. I signed for you.
Last time you messed with me, yeah.
And all the,
Sharon.
Signature
Sorry,
is on
Alderman
the
Clifford.
right.
Abstaining from this. I'll be
pardon?
abstaining from this.
Okay. So we'll know Alderman Clifford is abstaining from this vote.
Second one, right?
Sure.
Okay. So we have, Jeff, do you want to talk about the second, or are we all set? We just need a motion.
Just the same thing again for the digester application, if you will.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And move that the board approve and circulate for signature the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, Step 3, funding application for the digester improvement project, subject to minor modification as may be required by the state and approved by the city engineer.
Second.
Any debate on that motion? We'll know that Alderman Clifford is abstaining. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, City Engineer Rotondo, I do not see, so I'm assuming, Commissioner, you are filling in. Request for Bridge and Culverts RFP.
Yes, and I think there may be a little wording change in the cover memo. I just caught it now. It says, I respectfully request the board to grant the city engineer authorization. Technically, under the charter, it's authorized the mayor.
Right.
So the motion should actually say mayor, to issue requests for proposals for engineering services. That was for the other bond issue that was approved in March for the bridges and culverts. And we want to go out to a request for proposals to get engineering services to begin designing the first several of those. And that's what the request is. But the motion should say authorize the mayor, because charter requires that.
Okay. So we need a suspension of the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman Whitcomb.
And I move that we grant the mayor authorization to issue requests for proposals for engineering design services for the box culvert replacement and bridge rehabilitation projects approved by the voters. That was bond article number 2 in the March 5th, 2019 election.
Second.
Any debate on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And next, we have City Engineer Rotondo / Commissioner Wennberg, request signatures on letter of intent. This is letter of intent to participate in the Municipal Roads Grants in Aid Program.
The state of Vermont, this is the second year. Last year you approved this, exactly the same request. And the state of Vermont has a program whereby they grant each regional commission district a certain amount of money to then sub-grant to municipalities. And what they do is all municipalities are encouraged to apply, but it's basically an entitlement. So depending on how many municipalities in each district apply, they take the total and they divide it up according to some formula among the municipalities that actually apply. So we don't know the exact amount, but there will be a grant. The estimate is around $17,000 to $18,000, which we were approved for last year, and the money is used to do evaluation and improvements for water quality protection at locations where there's an intersection or connection between our roads and the receiving waters. In our case, in almost all cases, it's either a swale that is eroding or needs some stabilization, or a place where there's a catch basin and a pipe that comes out and it goes to a stream. And we've identified locations where those need improvement to protect water quality, and this funding provides money to do that. So, but it does require a letter of intent and legislative body signatures. So the resolution, I think the city clerk has that.
Okay. Alderman Dupont.
Motion to suspend the rules, please.
Second.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman Dupont.
And I would like to make a motion to circulate for signature of intent to participate in the Municipal Road in Aid Program.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to circulate? Seeing none.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay. We are on standing committees. First up, Alderman Charter and Ordinance.
Thank you, Madam President. The meeting on June 4th, 2019 at 5:31. Committee members present were myself, Chris Satori, Melinda Humphrey, Lisa Ryan. Other aldermen present were Paul Clifford and Matt Whitcomb. Others were Tara Kelly, Mayor Allaire, Davis, and Brennan Duffy. The purpose of the meeting was mainly educational. It was an examination of current ordinance with examples to show how the sign works. Tara Kelly passed out organized materials she believed would help the Board of Aldermen in their process of going through the proposed new sign ordinance. It became clear that the current ordinance is vague in many areas and in some cases is in conflict with itself. This can make implementation and enforcement difficult and inconsistent. Some of the larger problems include vagueness in figuring building frontage, inconsistency regarding temporary signs, vagueness around multi-tenant properties, and a lack of consideration of multi-story, which is of particular interest as upper stories are developed downtown. There was some discussion of how best to involve the business public in the process. Aldermen reminded us that there are as many opinion signs as there are people. The chair agrees, but still values individual examples as a way of understanding what constitutes policy. With this in mind, the chair has been talking to business people one-on-one. Mary Cohen at the Chamber of Commerce set up meetings for chamber members to discuss any concerns they have with the committee chair. The chair, anyone with hopes or concerns about the sign ordinance, current or proposed, to contact her, and by her, I mean myself. The meeting adjourned at about 6:45, and this report is for information only.
Thank you. Any questions for Alderman Dupont?
So, was it about a year ago now, not even a year ago, this there on the corner of Stratton Road and Block Avenue, had the brand new construction,
took over a couple of properties around a nice big lot, and it's a really store that they've put in. They were taller, higher, bigger sign until somebody from the city approached, hey, we're considering an ordinance. We want to kind of reduce overburden signs that block scenery and they're in the way of drivers that are trying to make corners and stuff like that. And they complied with everything as far as the request to downsize and to make their sign much more aesthetically pleasing. I'm fine with going ahead with this process. I just want to point out that if Tara wants to, you know, if we direct Tara to go to businesses and say, this is kind of what we would like to see for a sign, and that's new construction signs too. I mean, if we're going to where the Rite Aid is on West Street and there's already footings and a post, you know, the construction in, and it doesn't fit what we're attempting to do in the city as far as new stuff goes, I would certainly hope that as we go down that road, we really take into consideration that signs of that size and magnitude can cost $20,000, $30,000 from the base in the ground to the actual structure. And then that's before you even put the actual sign on everything you've just built. So I don't want to be overburdensome with new business that might want to use an existing sign structure to put their new sign on and have to possibly pay as much as $30,000 or $40,000 more because we say that doesn't fit what we want in the city. You got to tear it all out and start new. That is a big chunk of change that a new business that might want to locate in Rutland is going to have to come up with, where they already have an existing structure that they can put a sign on. So, just my 2 cents on this as we go forward.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. If not, we're moving on to Alderman Ettore, Finance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Finance Committee met on June 11th to discuss the third quarter treasurer's report. I served as chair. Other committee members present were Alderman Humphrey and Reveal. Other aldermen present were Alderman Mattis and Board President Davis. Others present were Mayor Allaire, Treasurer Markowski, and Assistant City Treasurer Lynn Holmquist. The meeting convened at 5:30 p.m. to discuss the third quarter treasurer's report and the status of the unassigned fund balance as a preliminary review before we set the tax rate next month. Mary shared with those present that expenses looked on target at about 75% of the expected FY19 budget amounts. Revenues, while challenging to predict, look very healthy. The city department heads and the RA have done a good job requisitioning grant revenue in a timely manner, which helps offset the costs associated with receiving those grants. Reviewing revenues also showed some unanticipated revenues coming into the city. The state building's pilot amount was up by about $75,000, likely because the state assumed full ownership of the Asa Bloomer building. The interest revenue was budgeted at only $15,000, but thanks to the Treasurer's Office changing the investment strategy by putting some city monies into a money market account invested in short-term U.S. Treasury bonds, the interest revenue is projected to be significantly higher at around $100,000. President Davis asked if the staffing changes in the fire department would result in the salary line coming in under budget. The treasurer responded that it looks that way, but we need to also consider the payout amounts for the fire department employees that left employment that are listed in the debt service and payout GL line, which totals about $300,000 for all citywide retirement payouts. Overall, the treasurer expects a total of about $500,000 in expected revenues over what was projected. Additionally, it looks like the health insurance and workers' comp insurance expenses were budgeted at higher amounts than actual expenses have come in. Hopefully, these factors, despite some unexpected costs such as the roof for the police department and the fire department payouts, will provide for the city to at least break even for the year, if not making some money available for taxpayer relief. Of course, we won't be able to know the bottom line until mid-July when the numbers are finalized. The treasurer then reviews the process for how we set the tax rate in July. The meeting ended at 6:10. This report was for information only.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Alderman Ettore? Seeing none. Are there any select committee reports or representatives? Not. We are on to petitions, letters, and miscellaneous communications. We have a special events permit request, rave pre-car show gathering on July 12th at 6 to 8 p.m. in front of City Hall. Alderman Mattis.
I move to suspend the rules, take the matter up tonight.
Second.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman Mattis.
And I move the board approve the special event permit application for the pre-car show gathering for Rave on Washington Street from 6 PM to 8 PM on July 12th.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to approve? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We are under the Board of Control Commissioners. We need a motion to go in.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We have 2 outside consumption permits. First is the Hideaway Tavern. It is your pleasure. It's Alderman Mattis.
Can we approve the permits for each date all at once?
Yes.
Okay.
You,
Do we need to suspend the rules?
is it all right if we do it all at once? No, not in the Board of Control
Okay.
Commissioners.
So I move that the board approve the outside consumption permit for the Hideaway Tavern on July 26th, 19th, and 12th, from 4 PM to 12 PM.
And we move
And
to
authorize the clerk to sign?
Second.
So we have the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th from 4 to 12 PM outside consumption, Hideaway Tavern. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And then we have outside consumption for Hoppin' Moose. Alderman Mattis.
And I move that the board approve the outside consumption permit for the Hop and Moose for July 12th, 19th, and 26th, from 4 to midnight presumably, and authorize the clerk to sign.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to approve? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We need a motion to go out.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Unfinished business? Seeing none. Is there any miscellaneous motions, resolutions, new business? Perfect, because I was going to say somebody had to go get him. So we have a request for executive session from the city attorney for executive relations agreements. We have 2. If you could give us the motions.
The first motion is to find that for public knowledge regarding the negotiation labor relations agreement would clearly place the city at a because the discussion will divulge the board agreement provisions to be negotiated.
So moved.
Second.
Any, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
And a motion to enter into executive session with inclusion of the mayor, commissioner of public work, and the city attorney to discuss the labor as allowed under Title I, Section 313A1B.
So moved.
Second.
Any debate on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We'll just stand down.